Good morning, students. Welcome to the class on chemical kinetics. We will start our class. We were discussing the problems on first order integrated rate expression. Now we will see this problem. In an enzymatic sucrose fermentation reaction, if 0.1 molar solution of sucrose is reduced to 0.05 molar in 10 hours and to 0.025 molar in 20 hours, what is the order of the reaction and its rate constant? Here we were given only the changes in the concentration of starting material and we were asked to find out the order. That means the change in concentrations. So the proportion of change in concentrations, it has a direct relation with the order. So that's what we need to catch. Now, we know the sucrose fermentation. When it undergoes fermentation, it gives glucose. Sorry. Yeah. Now we will calculate, we will determine the order of the reaction. Here, what has given is initially the reaction was started with 0.1 molar solution of sucrose. At time 0, so A minus X are nothing but A, it is 0.1 molar and it is reduced to 0.05 molar in 10 hours. That means after 10 hours, after T equal to 10 hours, A minus X has become 0.05 molar. Here we can clearly see that the concentration of sucrose is halved within 10 hours. Then again, it was given that it was reduced to 0.025 molar in 20 hours. So that means after T is equal to 20 hours, again the concentration of sucrose starting material is 0.025 molar. Now from this relation also we can clearly see that the concentration is halved from 0.05 to 0.025. So that means it took 10 hours for the concentration to become half. Again it took 10 hours to become the concentration half. So that means the half-life is independent of initial concentration. Here the reaction is started with 0.1 molar solution of sucrose. It took 10 hours to become 0.05 molar. It took same 10 hours to become 0.025 molar. That means the half-life of the reaction is not changing, even the initial concentration of the the concentration of the reactant is changing. So that means we can understand that T half is independent of the initial concentration. Now, which expression gives a direct relationship where initial concentration of the reactant does not influence its T half? For a first order reaction, the expression for half-life is 0.693 by K1. Here we don't have concentration of reactants. That means T half of a first order reaction is independent of concentration of the reactant. Therefore, the given reaction is a first order reaction. Now we will see the next problem. Prove that T 99.9% is equal to 10 times T half for a first order reaction. How do we solve this? Right. For a first order reaction, the integrated rate expression is given by K1 is equal to 2.303 by T into logarithm of A by A minus X. So that means, let us say initial concentration of reactant is A. For example, if you take a general first order reaction, then initial concentration of reactant is A. Then we need to find out the time required for 99.9% completion of a reaction. So we need to find the time required for 99.9% completion of a reaction. So for this, that means if a reaction is 99.9% is completed, that means X becomes 99.9% of A, because 99.9% is completed. Now the concentration of X is 99.9%, or we can convert this into numbers by dividing it with 100. So it becomes 0.999 A. Now substitute these values in an integrated rate expression. So we have considered A, we know the X which is derived in terms of A, and we know that we need to calculate the time. Therefore, we will rearrange this equation also. So we will bring this T to this side. So it is a denominator. When it comes this side, it becomes numerator. K1 here it is a numerator. When it goes this side, it becomes denominator. So 2.303 by K1 logarithm of A by A minus X. What is X? 0.999 of A, or 2.303 by K1 into logarithm of A by the difference 1 minus 0.999, it becomes 0.001 A. A will get cancelled. 0.001 means 10 power minus 3. So when it is made numerator, it becomes 10 cube. So 2.303 by K1, we will write this as 3 into log 10. Now we can rearrange this in terms of T half. What is the expression for T half? T half is 0.693 by K1. How do we get 0.693? When 2.303 is multiplied with 0.3010. So we will write like this: 2.303 into 0.3 into 10, because log 10 is 1. So this 3 is written as 0.3 into 10 by K1. So 2.303 into 0.3, it becomes 0.693 by K1. So what is 0.693 by K1? It is the expression for first order reaction. Therefore, T 99.9% of a reaction is equal to 10 times half-life for a first order reaction. The next problem is half-life of a first order reaction is 70 seconds. Calculate the time for 75% completion of the reaction. How do we solve this? Right. First, it was given that half-life is 70 seconds for a first order reaction. Therefore, we will write that given that half-life of a first order reaction is T half is equal to 70 seconds. We know the expression for half-life of a first order reaction. We know for a first order reaction, T half is equal to 0.693 by K1. So when we substitute T half value in this expression, what we will get? We will get the value of K1. Therefore, we will rearrange it. K1 is equal to 0.693 by T half. What is T half? 70 seconds. So when we were given T half, we can easily get the K1 value in a first order reaction. Then what we need to find out? We need to calculate T 75%. So the time required for 75% completion of a reaction. So first let us say initial concentration is A. Therefore, if a reaction to be 75% completed, then X becomes 75% of A. When we convert this into numbers, we will divide it with 100 so that it becomes 75 A. Simply we can take 3 by 4 of A because it is 75%. Now we will take the integrated rate expression K1 is equal to 2.303 by T into logarithm of A by A minus X, and we will substitute X value. T we need to calculate. K1 we have already derived here. So we will substitute all these here and we will determine T 75%. We will rearrange this reaction equation. T 75% is equal to 2.303 by K1. What is K1? It is 0.693 by 70 seconds multiplied by logarithm of A by A minus 3 by 4. We can substitute 0.75 A or 3 by 4. Then we can do simplification of this, but right now we will keep everything as it is, and at the end we will look at the simplifying these calculations. Logarithm of A by 1 minus 3 by 4. So 1 minus 0.75, it is 0.25. So 1 by 4 of A. A will get cancelled. 2.303 by 0.693 into 70 seconds into AA will get cancelled. 1 by 4 becomes log 4. Okay, we don't need to write. 2.303 by 0.693 into 70 seconds into what is log 4? We can write 2 square. So 2 into log 2. What is 0.693? It is 2.303 multiplied by log 2 value. So that means these terms will get cancelled and we will get 70 seconds into 2. So it is 140 seconds. It is 140 seconds. So this is how we will derive the T75% for a theory exam. For a competitive exam, of course, we have learned the shortcut. What is the shortcut? For a first order reaction, T75% is equal to 2 into T half. For a first order, zero order, it is 1.5 into T half. For a first order, it is 2 into T half. T half was given as 70 seconds, so it is 140 seconds. So this, so it takes less than 10 seconds if we want to calculate this for a competitive exam. Next problem. 90% of a first order reaction is completed in 180 minutes. Calculate its T half. How do we solve this? For a first order reaction, T half is given as 0.693 by K1. So if we want to calculate T half, we must have the value of K1. How do we calculate the K1? K1 is not given here, right? We need to calculate this using the given data. What was given? 90% of your first order reaction is completed in 180 minutes. 90% of a first order reaction is completed in 180 minutes. That means they have given T 90% is equal to 180 minutes. Now let us say initial concentration as initial concentration of the reactant as A. So for a reaction to be 90% completed, X must become 90% of A. If 90% of A is converted to X, then we can say it is 90% complete. Or we can say, we can convert this into numbers by dividing with 100, so 9.9 of A. So we know the T value, we know the X value. We need to calculate the first order rate constant from the integrated expression. We know for a first order reaction, K1 is equal to 2.303 by T into logarithm of A by A minus X. So 2.303 by T, T was given 180 minutes, logarithm of course, A we have assumed A as A minus X 0.9 of A. When we simplify this, 2.303 by 180 minutes into logarithm of 1 minus 0.9, it becomes 0.1. So A by 0.1 A. A by 0.1 A. So A will get cancelled. We will have 1 by 0.1. When it is made numerator, it becomes 10. It becomes 10. So log 10. Log 10 becomes log 10 value 1. So we have calculated K1 value. So we need to substitute this K1 value in the half-life expression. Therefore, T half is equal to 0.693 by K1. It is 2.303 by 180 minutes. Right. So how do we do cancellation here? 0.693 is obtained by multiplying 2.303 with 0.3010. So when we cancel it, it becomes 0.3010, or simply you can take 0.3 into 180 minutes. So 0.3, it is 54 minutes. So if you want to calculate T half, we need to have K1, or if you are given T half, we will calculate K1. Then from the other data, using the integrated rate expression, we can derive the value of K1 and we can substitute in half-life expression so that we will get our T half. Now we will look at next problem. It is a different expression we need to use. Here they have given a practical and we were asked to calculate 5 ml of ethyl acetate was added to a flask containing 100 ml of 0.01 molar HCl placed in a thermostat maintained at 30 degrees centigrade. So the thermostat is used to maintain the constant temperature. A 5 ml of the reaction mixture, that means out of 5 plus 100, 105 ml, was withdrawn at different time intervals and after chilling, titrated against a standard alkali. The following data were obtained. So they have given some times at that time. So after 75 minutes, it is 12 ml alkali. After 119 minutes, it is 13.1 ml alkali. After 183 minutes, so something like this. Now, what is this problem and how do we solve this? First, we will understand what is the given problem. It was ethyl acetate and 0.1 molar HCl. Of course, we have read an example of first order reaction is acid hydrolysis of ethyl acetate. So here we will take acid. Water will be in large quantities, right? Because it is 5 ml, water is 100 ml, so there is no comparison. 19:20:1. So it is very small amount. When we do this hydrolysis, acidic hydrolysis, what is the product? Water gets added across this ester bond. So water OH will be added to carbonyl carbon and hydrogen H2O. Hydrogen will be added to oxygen. So we will be breaking this bond. When we do hydrolysis of an ester, what is the product? The product is a carboxylic acid. Here it is acetic acid. And we are getting alcohol. C2H5OH, it is ethanol. Then after some time, what is happening? Due to the hydrolysis, the ester is slowly converted to acetic acid. Now what we are doing? We are titrating this acetic acid with sodium hydroxide. It is a carboxylic acid, it is a base, so the reaction is a neutralization. CH3CO, O minus, Na plus, sodium acetate ion. This OH minus and H plus will become H2O. So this is a neutralization reaction. Right. So when we are taking some aliquots at different time intervals of the product is acetic acid. When we treat that mixture, the aliquot with sodium hydroxide, whatever acetic acid is there, that only reacts with the base so that it becomes neutralized. Now, from this expression, it is very clear that one molecule of ethyl acetate will generate one molecule of acetic acid. From the below expression, one molecule of acetic acid will react with one molecule of NaOH. Now, we don't know the amount of acetic acid. Okay, because what we are doing, we are, I'll try to write the, so this is water and we are adding 5 ml of ethyl acetate. So this is 100 ml of acid, 100 ml of acid, we are adding 5 ml of ethyl acetate. So total it becomes 105 ml. And after some time, what we are doing, we are taking 5 ml, then 5 ml, then 5 ml. We don't know the amount of acetic acid or ethyl acetate in that mixture. Now, how do we find out the amount of acetic acid? We will titrate with NaOH, and whatever the amount of NaOH required to make this acidic solution neutral, so that's what the amount of acetic acid, because each molecule of acetic acid is reacting with each molecule of NaOH. So the amount of acetic acid present in the 5 ml is nothing but the amount of NaOH we have used to neutralize this. In other words, the amount of ethyl acetate is nothing but the amount of acetic acid. So in this case, we can take volume of ethyl acetate as volume of NaOH. Okay, when we are taking 5 ml from this reaction mixture, what we are doing, we are taking 5 ml at regular intervals and we are titrating it NaOH. We don't know the amount of acetic acid in the mixture, but when we titrate it, what we can say, the volume of ethyl acetate is nothing but volume of NaOH. So instead of using the volume of acetic acid, we can use the volume of NaOH. So that's why the NaOH volumes were given, right? For this titration, how do we say whether the reaction is neutralized or not? We use an indicator, phenolphthalein. This is a simple experiment. We can conduct it in any normal inorganic lab. Here, when we add phenolphthalein indicator, its pH range is 4 to 6. So when we add indicator, first we will take 5 ml of it. When we take out 5 ml, we will mix some more amount of water and 1 or 2 drops of indicator. Because the 5 ml is having acetic acid, under acidic conditions, it is a colorless solution. So I can say, what is the color change? The color change is when we add phenolphthalein indicator, it is a colorless solution, and when we do reaction, at the end point, it becomes a pink color. It becomes pink color. So we can easily visualize these color changes so that we can stop the titration process at the end point and we can measure the volume of NaOH. So this is the background for this ester hydrolysis. Now, what we need to do, I just forgot to completely write the problem. So after the data, show that the hydrolysis of ethyl acetate is a first order reaction. Now there is a correction. The pH range is 8 to 10. 8 to 10. So below 8, when phenolphthalein is there, below 8, it appears colorless. Above 8, it appears pink color. Because we are using sodium hydroxide is a strong base. So after the end point, immediately with the addition of an excess amount of NaOH, the pH becomes around 10. So that is why we need to use a pH indicator which works around 8 to 10. So below 8 pH, phenolphthalein gives colorless. Above 8, 8 to 10, in the basic medium, it is a pink color indicator. Now we want to show that the complete hydrolysis process is a first order reaction. Now for this, we need to use a modified integrated rate expression, which is given as K1 is equal to 1 by T ln V infinity minus V naught by V infinity minus Vt. So this is the modified integrated rate expression to be used when volumes were given and time is also given. K1 is equal to 1 by T ln V infinity minus V naught by V infinity minus Vt. Then what is V naught, Vt, V? We will look at this data. At time 0, this is the V naught. At time 75 minutes, this is the V75. At 119 minutes, it is the V119. This is V183. This is V infinity. How do we get V infinity? Generally, this reaction is done at constant temperature. To obtain the infinity, what we will do, we will heat this reaction. So under thermal conditions, the hydrolysis is a fast reaction. So within 10 minutes, all the hydrolysis will be completed. So for the data point, we will do the reaction at a constant temperature. And after getting some data points, finally we will heat the reaction so that the reaction will complete. So initial volume is V naught, final volume is V infinity. Now we will use this data to substitute here and we will find out the K1 value. In order to show that it is a first order reaction, the K1 value must be constant for all these data points. For example, we will calculate the K1 value at 75 minutes. T is equal to 75 minutes. Right. So K1 is equal to 1 by 75 minutes ln V infinity is 21.0, V0 is 9.62 by V infinity 21.05 and V75 is 12.10. We can convert this ln to log. So when we simplify this, what we will get is 0.003259 minute inverse because it is in the denominator. So we will get minute inverse. Similarly, when we calculate the K1 value at 119 minutes, so K1 is equal to 1 by 75 into ln V infinity, it is the same thing. V naught is again the same value. V infinity is again same. Vt, V7, sorry, this is V119. it is 13.1. When we simplify this, what we will get is 0.003264 minute inverse. See, we are getting almost constant values for the K1. Similarly, we can also calculate the K1 value at 183 minutes. When we calculate K1 value at 183 minutes, we will get 21.05 minus 9.62, 14.75. So here the value, when we simplify it, is 3254 minutes. Now you look at all these values. Now for any set of data points, K1 value is almost constant. Yeah, 0.00326, 0.00326, 0.00326, something like that. So if the rate constant is constant for any set of values, then we can say it is the first order rate equation, because we are using first order rate expression, and when we calculate the rate constant at different times, we are getting the same value. Of course, we know that the rate constant will not change unless we change the temperature, right? So rate constant is a constant for a particular reaction. So when we get the constant values, we can say it is the first order rate equation. Now we will see a similar problem for the decomposition of ammonium nitrite in aqueous solution. Show that it is a first order reaction. So again, time and volume of nitrogen were given. Right. So for this, T0 is missing. So that means we don't have V0. So this is V10, this is V15, this is V20, this is V25, this is V infinity. Because we are missing V0, we can modify the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction as 1 by T is equal to ln into V infinity by V infinity minus Vt. We can use this modified equation and we calculate the K1 at T is equal to 10 minutes, at T is equal to 15 minutes, at T is equal to 20 minutes, at T is equal to 25 minutes. Of course, we cannot calculate K1 value at infinity. When we calculate this, what we will get is 0.01976. You practice this, okay? 0.01976 minute inverse. K1 equal to 0.01964 minute inverse, 0.01971 minute inverse. When we look at the K1 values, see it is almost constant, 0.0197, 0.0197, 0.0197, 0.0197. So that means for any set of points, K1 value is constant when we use the first order integrated rate expression. So that means this reaction is a first order reaction. Now we will derive the integrated rate expression for a second order reaction. So first we will see some examples for second order reaction, then we will go for the derivation. Right. Thermal dissociation of acetaldehyde is an example for second order reaction. What is acetaldehyde? CH3CHO is an acetaldehyde. When it undergoes decomposition, it undergoes decomposition into methane plus carbon monoxide. Methane is a natural gas. To balance this, we need to use carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas. So decomposition of acetaldehyde is an example for second order reaction. Next example is saponification of an ester. What is saponification? Hydrolysis of an ester under basic conditions. So here we use OH minus solution, NaOH water. Here the quantity of water is very large, so we don't consider the change in concentration of water will not alter this reaction. So that is why it is called pseudo second order reaction. When we do basic hydrolysis, again it is the same thing. Water will add across this ester bond. We will get the product CH3COOH, but carboxylic acid is a strong acid. It easily releases H plus, and we are adding base, so it is always like this, plus C2H5OH. The counter ion is Na plus. If we use Na plus here, NaOH, the counter ion will be NaOH, sodium acetate. So saponification of an ester, that means hydrolysis of an ester under basic condition, is a second order reaction. Why? Because the rate of the reaction depends on both ester concentration as well as sodium hydroxide base concentration. The next example for second order reaction is a reaction between persulfate and iodide ions. Potassium persulfate to I minus, it gives rise to a sulfate ion and iodine. So this is an example for second order reaction. Next, all nucleophilic substitution bimolecular reactions, they are examples for second order reactions. Generally, we encounter these reactions in organic chemistry. So when we want to substitute this chlorine with OH minus, the product is alcohol from haloalkane plus KCl. So this is a second nucleophilic substitution, because OH will substitute with its negative charge, so it is acting as a nucleophilic substitution. And here the rate of the reaction depends both on the concentration of chloromethane as well as potassium hydroxide. So it is a bimolecular or second order reaction. When we look at the further examples, formation of hydrogen iodide from hydrogen and iodine, it is an example for second order reaction. Synthesis of urea from ammonium cyanate under thermal conditions, so it will undergo a rearrangement like this. So this is urea, this is ammonium cyanate, So the conversion of ammonium cyanate to urea under thermal conditions is an example of second order reaction. Then decomposition of NOCl. 2NOCl decomposes to 2NO plus Cl2. So these are the examples for second order reactions. Now we will look at the derivation for integrated rate expression of a second order reaction. When we want to derive the integrated rate expression, first we need to know it is a second order reaction. That means rate of the reaction depends on two concentration terms. So there are two possibilities. In a second order reaction, the rate expression depends on two concentration terms. These concentration terms refer to either the same species or different species. So we have two different cases. In a second order reaction, the first case is both the concentration terms referred to the same species. That means, for example, if you take a general example for second order reaction, A gives rise to P. we used to take two molecules of A because the concentration terms refer to same species. So we will take 2 times A. It is general what we have discussed for zero order rate expression or a first order rate expression. It is in the similar lines. So initially we will start with A amount of starting material because the reaction is not started, the product is 0. After some time, when the reaction is occurring, say if X amount of product is formed, then the remaining amount of A is A minus X. Now, we can write the rate expression for a second order reaction. Therefore, rate R is equal to some constant. Here it is a second order reaction, so we will take K2, and the reactant is A. Because it is depending 2 times, so we will take A square. So this is the rate expression. In rate expression, that means rate law. So second order rate law is R is equal to K2 into A square if the two concentration terms refer to the same species. Then we can write the differential form of rate. The differential form of rate is decrease in the amount of reactant with time, or we can say rate of decrease in the concentration of reactant. So this differential form of rate can be equated to rate law. Now we will rearrange the variables. Variables are concentration terms A and time. When we rearrange this, here A square is a multiple. When we bring this side, it becomes a denominator. dt, it is a denominator quantity, it becomes numerator here. Now we can integrate this. On integration between the limits, we get negative sign, we don't need to keep it inside. What is the limits for A? Initially we are starting with A and finally we have A minus X. So dA by A square is equal to K2 is a constant and dt is the variable, initial time 0. And then what is the integration for x power n? Integration for x power n is x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. So here if you make it numerator, it becomes a power minus 2. So the integration is a power minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1 between the limits a to a minus x is equal to k2 into t between the limits 0 to t. So when we look at the formula, integration of x power n is equal to x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. So this is the formula. Integration formula is integral x power n is equal to x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. Now we need to substitute the variables and we will simplify it. Minus 2 plus 1 becomes minus 1, so minus and minus they'll get cancelled. A power minus 2 plus 1, so a power minus 1, so that means 1 by a. 1 by a between the limits a to a minus x is equal to k2 into t minus 0. Or when we substitute variables, 1 by a minus x minus upper limit minus 1 by a lower limit is equal to k2 into t. Or we can say k2 is equal to, because we are writing in terms of rate constant, 1 by t into 1 by a minus x minus 1 by a. So this is the integrated rate expression. for a second order reaction. K2 is equal to 1 by T into 1 by A minus X minus 1 by A. Always remember this, but we can also simplify it further. How do we simplify it? Yeah, K2 is equal to 1 by T into, when we do LCM, it is A into A minus X. Here it takes A minus of A minus X, so it becomes A plus X. When we simplify this, K2 is equal to 1 by T into X by A into A minus X. So this is the integrated rate expression for a second order reaction in which two molecules of the same reactant are involved in the reaction. So I repeat the sentence again. I'll repeat this. We are deriving the rate expression for a second order reaction. There are two cases. First case, when both the concentration terms refer to the same species. Now we will take a general expression for a second order reaction, and yeah, we will start the reaction with A, and after some time say X amount of product is formed. Now for the second order reaction, we know the rate law, R is equal to K2 into A square. The differential form of rate is rate of decrease in the concentration of reactant. So minus d by dt of A is equal to K2 into A square. Or when we rearrange the variables, minus dA by A square is equal to K2 into D. Now we will integrate this both sides between the limits. Of course, concentration limits are A to A minus X, time limits are 0 to T. Now it is A power minus 2. We know the integration for x power n integration is x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. Similarly, here also it is A power minus 2. So A power minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1 between the limits. Dt, of course, the integration is T. Yeah, minus 2 plus 1 becomes minus 2. Sorry, minus 2 plus 1 becomes minus 1. So this minus and this minus will get cancelled. Minus into minus will be positive. So 1 A power minus 2 plus 1, A power minus 1. So we will write it as 1 by A power A. When we substitute the variables, what we get? Upper limit 1 by A minus X minus lower limit 1 by A is equal to K2 into T. Or K2 is equal to 1 by T into 1 by A minus X minus 1 by A. This is the integrated rate expression for a second order reaction when two concentration terms are same. We can further simplify it as K2 is equal to 1 by T into X by A into A minus X. So we need to remember these two. If you remember this, it is good. If you remember this, it is more than good. Right. So this is the integrated rate expression. This is the integrated rate expression for the rate constant of a second order reaction when the two concentration terms refer to the same substance. Right. Now we will derive the units of second order rate constant. What is the integrated expression for a second order rate constant? It is 1 by T into X by A into A minus X. Nothing but 1 by time into X. What is X? Concentration by A is again a concentration. A minus X is again a concentration. So concentration gets cancelled. So it is 1 by time, 1 by concentration, or concentration inverse, time inverse. Concentration generally we will represent in moles per liter. Since we have an inverse, so it is liter per mole per second. We can also represent liters in decimeter cube. So decimeter cube per mole per second. So based on the units of rate constant, we can easily determine whether it is a first order or a zero order or a second order reaction. So the units of rate constant are concentration inverse and time inverse. So it is liter per mole per second or decimeter cube per mole per second. Now we will try to represent the graphical representations for a second order reaction. Now we can use this rate law R equal to K2 into A square when we draw a graph of rate on y-axis versus A square on x-axis, is concentration, then rate depends on square of the A. So that means it is like an exponential curve. We can also use the integrated rate expression for a graphical representation. So 1 by A minus x minus 1 by A is equal to K2 into T. This minus 1 by A, we will make it this side. So we are rearranging it. Right. Now, if we draw a graph of 1 by A minus x versus T, 1 by A minus x versus T, so it represents like y is equal to mx plus c. So it is a straight line graph. It gives a positive slope whose slope is k2. So when we draw 1 by A minus x versus T graph, from the slope of the graph, we can calculate the k2 value. And this is the intercept. What is the intercept? Intercept is 1 by A. Now I will raise a question. If I want to know what is the value of this, where this line will touch the x-axis, in this case it is t. So when this line is extra plotted and it is made to cross this time axis, then what is the value of time here? It's a very simple thing. You know, if you want to know anything on y-axis, what we need to do, we need to take x as 0. Here t as 0, then y is equal to 1 by A. It is a simple thing. Similarly, if you want to know anything on x-axis, what we need to do, we need to put y is equal to 0. So 1 by A minus x, you make 1 by A minus x as 0. Then t is equal to, what happens? 1 by A, it is a plus. When it is coming this side, it becomes minus 1 by A. K2 is a multiple. Here it should be a denominator. So when you make 1 by A minus x as 0, then t is equal to minus 1 by A into K2. Now we will derive the expression for half-life of a second order reaction. What is the half-life? The time required for a reaction to be half completed. That means half of A will be converted to product. So when you want to calculate T half, what happens? Half of the A is converted to X. So we need to substitute X is equal to A by 2 and T is equal to T half in a integrated rate expression for a second order reaction. So K2 is equal to 1 by T into A by A into A minus X. K2 is equal to 1 by T half into A by, sorry, this is X, right? So A by 2 by A into A minus A by 2. A minus A by 2. So it is again A by 2. So A by 2 will get cancelled. We will rearrange it. T half is equal to 1 by K2 into 1 by A. So this is the expression for half-life of a second order reaction. So when we write T half and A, the relation is T half is inversely proportional to A. So for a half-life of a second order reaction is inversely proportional to the initial concentration.